So Charles Miller was a Brazilian who went to school in England, and he played for the Corinthians back when he was there before he came back to Brazil. And basically, he played there, and then he came back to Brazil from England, and then basically brought the sport of soccer with him. And then he was now known as the father of football in Brazil. Racial tensions in the football clubs in Brazil in the 1920s were super high purely because just basically as rich white kids playing soccer, and then there was the black leagues that started, black and mixed leagues that started as well, and then slowly over time they blended together because they pretty much had to. Both colors were just equally as good, and you had to mix them up. And the popular memory of the Marcanzo, basically Brazil lost in the World Cup, and it was such a harrowing defeat. People were committing suicide on the field, and a lot of people died. And it basically has enormous consequences. I mean, people are killing themselves on a football field. People have to watch that, and all the madness that happened would scar a lot of people. And after that, it basically just shows that Brazilian culture highly values football over a lot of other things. Pretty much their own lives at this point. They are diehard, quite literally. And then football arte is basically the mixing and dribbling and putting it all into an art and making it kind of a show, moving around and doing all that stuff with it. And then football de resultados, pretty much different version where you can kind of cheat a little bit. You're kind of making it flary, artsy, but the ultimate goal is to get it in the goal and make it artsy, but pretty much get it in. And then the debate surrounding these principles, if you make it an art, it looks cool and it's pretty efficient, versus de resultados, which, I mean, if you can carry a ball on your head as you're running down the field, seems pretty questionable, but it would work. And then football arte definitely reflects Brazilian culture. They're huge into art. If you go anywhere, even the slums, all the buildings are just painted a beautiful rainbow of colors. And then for the two Escobars and what is narco soccer, basically narco soccer was the invasion and basically put in place of the drug cartels at the time, and basically ran all the soccer clubs and used them to make money. And it refers to basically teams ran by drug cartels. And in the early 1990s were considered the golden age of Colombian soccer because Escobar was around, both of them, and they just played really well. He was a great player, and basically Escobar was running things, so money was never an issue. And then Pablo Escobar, very famous drug lord, shipped millions and millions of cocaine, national figure. It's hard not to know anybody who doesn't know who he is. And then he did play a role in politics in narco soccer, basically using his funds and using that to launder money and get away with using that just as a front, launder it, and then he got more money out of it and used it as a scheme while running a huge soccer team. And then finally, Pablo Escobar was taken down. He was the leader of the Medellin cartel, and being one of the most wanted men in the world, in 1993 he was killed during a shootout with Colombian Special Forces. And then after that, his funeral was swarmed by 200,000 people. It was very quick, but his sisters and mom watched him be lowered into the ground with millions of people watching. And the priest could barely even list off words because it was so fast. And then after that, the Medellin cartel basically fell apart, and the cocaine business was taken over by a different family, and all the rest of Pablo Escobar's mates pretty much got thrown in the clinker as well. And then Andre Escobar was another, not Pablo Escobar, but different dude. And then he died by getting shot by a .38 caliber pistol, and the dude yelled goal every time he shot him, the same amount of times his team scored, and it was yelled over the radio for the game. And then that basically put a pretty bad image on Colombia throughout the world. Basically makes it look like a gangster's paradise when drug cartels are running soccer teams and people are just getting shot because they love the sport so much.